Hey there guys, this is Sam
and Justin
at the Survival Review, and today we are going to be talking about the next Stuart Gordon H.P. Lovecraft adaptation in our kind of 3 movies in that series that we're going to do, and that's From Beyond, which, as we said last time, goes pretty much hand in hand with Reanimator.
Definitely.
Came out the very next year, and they have a very similar feel to them, similar cast.
They go together very well.
Yeah. And this one kind of goes into the shadow of Reanimator a lot of the time.
Yeah.
People always talk about Reanimator and they don't necessarily talk about From Beyond as much. And that's a shame.
Yeah,
because this movie is great. I'm not sure which I like more.
I lean towards Reanimator a little bit more, but
Probably
I'm not...
me a little, but not by like a landslide by any means.
Yeah, that's not putting this movie down at all.
Not even slightly. Because I love this one.
It's like saying like Return of the Jedi is the lesser of the Star Wars trilogy. That's not saying it's awful.
Yeah. It's
just saying compared to the first two, it's not as great. That's how this one is compared to Reanimator.
So to start off with the plot, we have Jeffrey Combs again. And Jeffrey Combs is working with a man named Dr. Pretorius on this resonator machine. It essentially stimulates the pineal gland into allowing you to see into like another dimension, basically, or see things that you normally wouldn't be able to see.
Yeah.
And it has some weird side effects, though. And essentially, while they're in this world where they're seeing all these creatures and things that they couldn't normally see, Dr. Pretorius gets sucked in and he thinks is killed, but not necessarily. And so after this tragedy of Dr. Pretorius getting his head basically bitten off,
Crawford gets accused of the murder. So he gets arrested and thrown into a psych ward where they think he's schizophrenic. And then this doctor comes along, played by Barbara Crampton, and she actually believes his story. So she actually puts him in her custody.
She says that as long as you're in my custody, we're going to go back to the house and figure out what happened. And he's like, oh, fuck, why? I don't want to go back there. He saw horrible, terrible things happen. But they go back, and they have with them a cop, played by good old Ken Foree, one of our favorites, playing a character named Bubba.
So they go back to the house to do more experiments with the resonator because the doctor is interested in this, and she also wants to prove that Crawford's not insane.
Yeah.
And of course, things don't really go as planned.
They never do in these movies.
No. So what really works about this movie is the cast. Jeffrey Combs is great as usual.
Yeah.
Bit off his head. Like a gingerbread man.
What's actually really good is that Barbara Crampton, who we actually really didn't talk about much in our Reanimator review, but she's really good. And also the fact that she's willing to do a lot of crazy shit. But not only that, she's also a really good actress at the same time.
She really elevates the role. Like, where in Reanimator, she's just kind of the girlfriend character. This, she's really front and center.
She's basically the main character in the movie. You think that Jeffrey Combs is going to be like the crazy mad scientist guy because he's Jeffrey Combs.
Yeah.
But instead, actually, Barbara Crampton turns out to be the crazy one, kind of, because she gets obsessed with the machine and figuring it all out.
She essentially is falling into the same patterns that Dr. Pretorius was in, and the machine is kind of taking over. She's falling into its traps.
Yeah, and she's actually the main focal point of the movie.
Yeah.
You think it would be Jeffrey Combs, because normally he is, and Reanimator, of course he was. But it's actually Barbara Crampton as the main character.
Yeah, and that's something that these two movies also have in common is the idea of addiction.
Yeah.
There's even a line from Ken Foree that he's like, you're acting like a junkie right now.
Yeah.
I know this behavior. I've seen it in the streets. You may be a scientist, lady, but right now you're acting like a junkie.
And it's true because she's completely addicted to the effects of the machine to the point where she's completely acting totally illogically, which is out of place for her character because she's this really smart scientist lady. It actually gets really frustrating throughout the movie because there are a lot of points where you're like, fucking, just why would you do this? No!
So don't turn it on? No. Okay.
It's clear that they're under the influence of the machine, and that's what kind of adds to the scariness of the movie. Again, this is part horror, part comedy, like Reanimator. Definitely leans more toward the horror side.
Yeah, but it's a little more like silly and not as like really trying to scare you, but it's just an interesting idea and unique concept.
Yeah, and executed just really well.
Yes. And also the cast, like we were saying, Ken Foree, is just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Again, he's kind of playing like a comedic relief character, which is really weird for Ken Foree.
How can you eat after that?
Yeah, he's normally a pretty serious guy.
Yeah.
But in this, he's comedic relief and he plays it well.
Oh yeah, he's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Don't you understand? This is the greatest discovery since Van Leeuwenhoek first looked through a microscope and saw an amoeba.
Yeah, but he wasn't down there with the amoebas.
This movie also stars the color purple and and Ken Foree's wide eyes.
Yes. The color in this movie, just the style in general, is much more kind of in your face than it was in Reanimator.
Yeah.
Reanimator was, I guess you'd say the color was green, because there's a lot of greens and maybe a lot of reds with blood.
But it had a more kind of like gritty, like run down look. This has a bit more like artistic like look to it.
Especially when the resonator is on, everything is purple.
Yes.
And when you're in that beyond, everything's kind of purple and pink.
Yeah, I also like this movie. This movie just has like a lot of fun with this concept. Not just with how crazy it is, but also with like the script and stuff. You have like the mad scientist character's name is Dr. Pretorius.
Yep.
Like Bride of Frankenstein. And like when they get to the house's address is 666.
Yeah, it's 666. It might as well be like Irony Lane.
Yeah.
It's 666 Benevolence.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's completely ridiculous.
So the script also has fun with it, just like the script for Reanimator.
Yeah.
Just has a lot of fun with the movie and just playing with those kind of tropes. It's great. And also, just like Reanimator, the effects are really good in the movie, too. There's some kind of, dodgy, like, composited shots in there that don't look as good. I mean, you actually see Dr. Pretorius after he's been in the Beyond.
Yeah.
And he's this weird, melded creature.
That stuff is just great. When like, Crawford goes up to touch him and his skin is like Play-Doh and it just, like, melds in. It's weird and just, there's something really disturbing about it. It's gross. And the actor, who plays Dr. Pretorius?
I don't know, but he's great.
Just the body.
The guy who plays Dr. Pretorius is fantastic.
That's what helps that Pretorius is such a depraved character.
Even before he's in this Beyond, he's just this disgusting, like he's a sadist.
Yeah, basically.
And that's another big part of the movie is the sexualization of this machine because your pineal gland is your sex drive organ, basically. And when you're under the influence of this machine, they get really weird and hot and horny, and it's just really uncomfortable.
Well, how about the hard-on I got? Is there a statistical correlation for that too?
And that's another part of the like addictive nature of this machine and its effects.
Also, it's great when Crawford gets sucked into there. And he comes out and he's like bald and everything is really different. He has what's like the same thing that Pretorius has, is this weird kind of like worm thing that pops out of his forehead.
And that's supposed to be like his pineal gland.
Yeah.
It's like coming to life. And it's completely like taking him over.
It's so ridiculous, but it's good looking. The effects of it's really effective.
Yeah, his forehead's a little
big,
a little big, but it's,
he almost looks like the Frankenstein monster.
But it's gross, like just seeing the hole and the thing squiggling around, trying to grab it with the pliers.
Yeah, that's the one scene in the movie. It's actually like legit, like unnerving because it's just so gross. Is he's lying on the hospital bed and the doctor is just trying to like reach in there to grab it, and you see like the close up of the head, and you see the hole and everything. It's disgusting and actually very unnerving.
It actually really makes me a little squeamish.
Yeah, it does.
And not a lot of things do that for me. That's like one of those little things.
And most of the stuff in this movie doesn't, because it's a little over the top and ridiculous. Like the giant creature that they fight when they're going to like turn off the circuit breaker, and the giant creature that comes out of the water and is like fighting and like eats up Crawford.
Or just Crawford when he's under the influence of this gland, when it comes out of his head, he's like out of control of his own body.
Yeah.
Because that's like his third eye. He basically wants to eat brains.
Basically, yeah.
And so he sees brains and he's eating them. Like in this hospital, they were in just a bucket.
Yeah.
They got a bucket of brains or whatever.
Why not?
But then when this like Nurse Ratched lady comes in,
played by Stuart Gordon's wife. Actually.
I didn't know that. That's cool. She comes in and he's like, oh God, I feel so disgusting. And then the worm comes out and he sucks her brain out through her eye. It's the most wonderful thing I've ever seen. There's so many weird things because, like, also Dr. Pretorius, he had all this weird, like, sex slave dungeon shit. And while Barbara Crampton is, like, under the influence of this machine, she, like, gets into this S&M suit.
Yeah.
And then, like, she starts trying to have sex with Crawford while he's asleep. And Ken Foree walks in and he's like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
And there's just lots of weird things like that. But that also, that whole scene, you get a lot more of, like, Barbara Crampton's character.
Yeah.
She's like, what the hell am I doing? She starts to sort of realize, like, how disgusting this is and that this isn't who she is.
No.
There's a lot to this movie.
Yeah. And what's great about the movie is that it is such a unique concept that it doesn't feel like cliched or anything, and it's such a unique story and idea. I mean, most of it's come from H.P. Lovecraft, of course. I'm not saying this is a totally original movie, but it makes it stand out from the other movies. Whereas, like, Reanimator is a totally original movie, but it kind of has a similar idea that's been done in other movies of, like, reanimating dead people. But this one's just totally out there and crazy, and it works.
Yeah.
So, out of 10?
Out of 10, I think I'm going to give it a solid 9 out of 10. This is a really, really great movie. One that kind of lives in the shadow of Reanimator and shouldn't, and I think a lot more people should watch it. Highly recommend it.
I agree, I'll give it a solid 9 as well. Just like a little bit under Reanimator, not quite as great, but still almost there. Yeah. Almost to that level. So that's basically all we have to say about From Beyond. Again, a really unique, creepy horror movie that just has a lot of great 80s effects. Yeah. Again, just like Reanimator, just makes it amazing, from the Pretorius creature to, like, the weird eagles that are swimming around. Yeah. A lot of amazing stuff. And yeah, it lives in the shadow, like you said, of Reanimator, but it's definitely something that stands on its own as a very unique H.P. Lovecraft adaptation.
Yeah, definitely.
Humans are such easy prey.
So we'll be back next time with another Stuart Gordon H.P. Lovecraft adaptation.
You'd think it would be Castle Freak, since the other one's starring Jeffrey Combs and Barbara Crampton, and creates kind of a little trilogy with Reanimator and From Beyond.
But that's not the one we're going to be talking about.
No,
we're actually going to be talking about the last one that he did, which was quite a few years later, in 2001, I think.
Yeah, early 2000s.
Yeah, so until then, we will see you guys next time.